Hey, Steve Zonardo here with Remax Treviso North Realty. Happy Monday morning, or Tuesday morning rather. Happy Labor Day, both sides of the border. Quick inventory crunch right now. Look at this, guys. We are at 27,814 units. Oh my lord, this is like, even though it's terrible numbers, but it's like heaven because we were at 33,000. So we dropped like 6,000 units literally in the last like 3 months, which is fantastic. So amount of sales in the last 7 days, 707 sales, which is not bad. And that's pretty much it for Toronto, or the GTA rather. And then if you look into Simcoe, because we want to add this because obviously it's a separate market, we're at 5,473 units with 127 selling. So that's just obviously for a different market. We have like 3 or 4 listings right now in Simcoe area, so that's why we want to add those numbers. Yeah, looking pretty good. We're unloading a crap load of inventory that we have, like listings that we have. We have buyers coming back to the market, and again, we're on listing presentations. We're having consults, and you know, it's the matter of telling the truth up to your sellers up front. It's like the problem is you're getting some of these properties where they paid, let's say, X and now it's Y. You're losing probably like 30 to 40,000. Let's say 8 to 10% off where you bought the property. Let's see where this is. 605. That was easy math. 1 sec here. Let's figure this. So you're basically 5% right now losing if you sell. So if you're losing 5%, like some of these properties, clearly condos, so losing 5% when you purchase, so right off the hop, plus you got to add expenses to that, so it's probably like you're 9 to 10% so you're going to be selling 5% below asking, below what you paid, plus 5% with closing costs and commissions and all that good stuff. So you're like 10% below. So now everyone has to make a decision: do we make the move or not? And it's best to be upfront with this. And clearly, we don't want to like sell a dream and say, okay, you're going to get you X and you're going to break even and the whole thing. It's not going to happen in today's market. Why? Because I mean, we can, the reality is, look what's listed. Clearly, yes, we can kind of follow what's happening with that, but we got to make ourselves look like a deal on the market. When someone looks on MLS and you see 10 properties listed, you need to make yourself look like a deal in there. If you got 9 properties that are overpriced, you better get yourself at a price that makes sense to what a buyer's paying. How do you do that? You look at the past sales. We're looking last 90 days, even less, whatever the few months sales, whatever we can get to kind of put a finger in it. Because what happens is, a finger and hold it, because the market is so volatile that it keeps declining in value. So we want to make sure we get that last 90 days of value, and that's what a buyer is willing to pay for it. So if a buyer is paying between, let's say for this circumstance, $550 to $570, I mean, that's what the value is. And now if you got properties listed in the 6s, 640s, 630s, go at $599 or go at $609, go at $605. You're still like 5 to 10% above, let's say, the last sale. So you are still overpriced, but on the market it looks like a deal, and that's the way to do it. And remember, even if you do sell your property overpriced, if your buyer, especially in a condo, is not coming down with like 20-30% down, and then the property appraises pretty shit, like close to closing, that buyer is going to come back for you for some extra money just to close the deal, and you're going to be desperate and you're going to do it. Trust me. You're not going to cancel it, because by the time you cancel it, the market has already declined even further. That's why probably where the appreciation's gone. So you're going to take that deal and away you go. So you just keep this all in mind when you're closing a deal. Everything's a lot more complex now than, let's just say, a regular or like a hot market. So you're going to have to put a lot of fundamentals in place to make sure you get a deal closed and funded and you get your cash and away you go. The only good thing is good thing is right now the move up, like selling smaller properties, getting into bigger properties. We did a webinar on Thursday about this. I hope it's saved. I was shit in the bag, and I think I didn't click the button to record it because we're going to mock up some clips out of it. But it was basically, the Move Up series showed how much money you're saving right now if you bought your property, like a detached property. So if let's just say you sold a town and semi. We did 4 examples. We did Bolton, we did like York region, Vaughan area. Mike did Toronto and Vaughan, and I did Simcoe and Bolton. I did. So we have this in the presentation. But if you look at Bolton, for example, Frank Johnston, you sold a townhouse in 2022 at the height of the market, and you sold it in like 2025, this market right now. Not that much of a loss, to be honest. Not that much of a loss. I got the figure somewhere. Let me see. Here it is. Let's just shrink myself down. So look at this. we have Bolton. So this is part of our presentation here. Frank Johnston, you sold a house in the in today's market for $920,000, clearly. So nice, right? Still really high. And the height of the market was $1,125,000. So if you kind of break it down, you look at percentage-wise, there should be a breakdown here. There's 18%. You lost 8 to 18% between the 5 years, let's just say, or 3 years rather. And so this is a wrong figure. It should be 312,000, but let me get the right numbers here. Let me just do a quick calculation. If you look at the fast math, I'll go through this quickly. Sorry, guys. This is obviously educational time right now. But $1,188 is the average sales price for a detached in Bolton. If you see this number, that's 38 detaches sold in Bolton in the year, and it gives you an average. So average sales price is $1,188. And if you look at the height of the market, we're at average 1,506, okay? Again, 54 properties, 1,506, $1.5 million for the same properties in the same community, okay? So if you kind of run the numbers at $1,188 here, current average sold price, where the peak was, it's $318,000 less. It should be $318,000, and it's 22% gap. Or depreciation rather. So when we originally dumped our properties in 2022, I was mentioning 20 to 30% drop. We're like at 22 to 24% right now, just right across the GTA. So we're on target to be very correct on this. And it's going to go further. We're expecting another 20%, I would imagine, at this point. But look at this. The whole point of this is they say date the rate and marry the price, right? Marry the home. So ultimately, you're going to have the same home. We ran the numbers as well. Look at the mortgage figures for us. But so you're going to be paying a less payment in today's high rates, and your mortgage is like $300,000 less than for the same property. So that's the whole point. Like, how long would it take you to pay an additional $300,000 off your mortgage? You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make sense. It's unfathomable. You know how it is when you're raising kids. You can't save this kind of money. We have a really great income. Clearly, we've always had it. In figures, we looked at our dollar figures. We should be able to pay our mortgage off in a year, but it never, money spread. It's like I made that example where it's like, you make like this big box of coffee and you only get like an espresso shot left to kind of like spend and invest. So it's always like that after taxation. But again, this is the whole point of this. If you're looking to move up right now, it's a good idea because you're definitely going to take advantage of today's market. And then the upside to this is if you saw in 2022, like it's only 3 years ago, guys. If you saw in 2022, just how the single family detaches morphed, like the towns and the semis and prices appreciation. So on the upside, like a full detached property will appreciate much more, so put more money in your bank. So they've lost $300K now, but that's easily gained $300K in the future. That's just the reality of them, because that's what detaches do. They're more desirable. It is what it is. And the towns and semis are always going to be starter homes, and they're always starting. That's why they always, like in today's market, they're the best products to sell. Why? Because there's always a buyer for them, especially in Toronto and in Canada right now. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions regarding the market, let us know. We'd be happy to give you guys a free consult. If you have an issue with properties, you're selling your property, it's not selling, give us a call. We'd be happy to kind of give you a tutorial what we can do to get your home sold, and also educate you on the market and how to take advantage of it, clearly, because that's what we do, and that's why that webinar is either you're going to survive or you're going to thrive. And even though the market's not very cheerful or cheery rather, it is still an opportunity for anybody that's looking to do stuff in the market. But you got to look at it a different way, clearly, and that's what we're doing, because we knew the market was faltering since 21, 20, 22. So we were off of that kick. We knew where it is. Now you're seeing a lot of realtors talking about inventory and the market and blah, blah, blah. But we're already past that. So how do we take advantage of this market now? We've already dealt with that for years. Now, how do we take advantage of this market? Because, we look at Toronto market too. Again, it's not even my prediction, Atlas Group, but I was saying the same thing. By 2029, 2030, this is when we're going to stop the bleed and maybe some stability, unless something dramatic happens in the economy. But the economy looks pretty sad right now, and future going forward, they had some of the lowest amounts of exports in Canadian history. I think they dropped 13%, and obviously that's tariff related. A lot of the car manufacturing is being brought back into America. America First project, clearly they're looking after America rather, with the jobs and their citizens, so that's taken all the jobs out of Canada, but it's a 13% drop, which is, if you don't think that's dramatic, think about it. And not only that, this is one thing, but AI is still out there lingering, and it's ripping jobs off on in the world, rather. So you're going to see a big shift going forward, and I think Canada's going to take the brunt of it, because it's not doing much in there. You got a poor government that's just got different ideas in his mind. We should be focused on like the future, AI, bring energy prices down. Everything should be in that. You should be the same idea. Just follow the U.S. Drill baby drill, and that's what they should be doing right now. Because if you look at even fuel costs. So now the fuel, I'm going to get off of this real quick, but the fuel costs, I always say it like this: you want a strong middle class sector, and also like a poorer class to get into a middle and have opportunities to go forward. Strong middle needs to have cheap energy. This is not even me, it's just anybody, any book you read on economy, economics rather, needs to have low energy costs. Low energy costs brings the market into full speed. If you got high energy costs, it shrinks the economy down, because the affordability just basically impoverishes the citizens of the country. And that's currently what's happening. If you look at where we were down to $2.69 a gallon. I did this fast math the last time. Just $2.69 a gallon divided by 3.78, which is what you do for a liter. It is literally 71 cents a liter we would pay. Obviously, it's in U.S. dollars. We are in U.S. We're making U.S. dollars, so ultimately we're paying 71 cents a liter. That's what it converts to. So if you're looking at Canada right now, the lovely government just slapped that carbon tax back on, which he promised he was going to do, so no one should be shocked by it. So now you're going to be at 150 to 160 a liter. So, think about how much less we're paying per liter there. We're paying like 45% less to fuel up our cars. Like, I made an example. We have I have an E-Class Mercedes, so bigger Benz. I think it's a 65 to 70 liter tank of fuel. I fill it up with premium, not at cheap gas stations, not at like proper either mobile, a Mobile One, or Shell, whatever it is, and I'm paying $61 for premium fuel to fill up the vehicle, and this is like splurging on the best gas available. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, even regarding here in the States, you guys looking to invest, we just read a report that there's the highest migration out of Canada. We knew this earlier this year, but 106,000 people left Canada last year, and that's 50% coming from Ontario, which makes sense because I get a lot of calls. I became not even a real estate agent, became like a coach on how to get immigrated into the States. So it's hilarious and fun, and I'm happy for everybody that's looking to do it for their family, because I think it's the right decision. And that's pretty much it. And they said 25,000 in the first quarter of this year already egress. And just remember, how do they know that you egress? Unless it's for taxation. So there's a lot of people still that have moved across the border that still have to deal with their taxation, the egress tax and all that. So once that's done, I would imagine they're going to count that. So those numbers at 106 might be a lot higher than that, to be honest. But we'll keep you posted on any updates. Have a great day, guys. Ciao.